Finish right, no? काही नाही ते तिने recording started recording. It's going on. Good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to all our participants, both online and in person, to this event on IP and sports, Ready, Set, Innovate. Before we start, I'd like to give a quick introduction to Center and TechX. So the agenda for today's event is going to be an introduction. I will be giving an introduction to Venture Center and TechX. After that, we will have a speaker, Mr. Prateek Sharma, talk about the story of how he built Helium. This will be followed by a panel discussion. And before that, Dr. Premnath will be setting the context to this event. So let me just start with a very brief introduction to Venture Center. Venture Center, as you all know, is India's largest technology incubator, which is hosted by CSIR's National Chemical Laboratory. We have aided over 750 incubatees, science-based startups since inception since December 2006. As seen in the slide, we offer a very robust innovation ecosystem with comprehensive support like mentoring, funding, scientific assistance, incubation, and specialized resource centers. As you can see in our slide, we have a lot of specialized scientific resource centers. And as an approved incubator by DST, NST, EDB, we also collaborate with MITE, with BIRAC, DST, Atal Innovation Mission, etc. So some important facts: more than 19 years of experience. We have more than 1,000 plus startup teams in programs, more than 300 plus resident incubators, 11 spin-off companies, IP more than 60K square feet. And we have special strengths like IP facilitation, regulatory, advanced prototyping and analytical facilities. And we have a pool of more than 200 plus experts, and we conduct more than 200 events per year. TechX is a vertical of Venture Center. It is a technology transfer hub at Venture Center, and the main aim of TechX is to facilitate win-win technology commercialization partnerships. So we help innovators and technology commercialization entities with technology transfer and IP support services. And we do that through our various services like technology commercialization, tech marketing, tech transfer, spin-offs and new venture creations, policies, IP protection and decision supports, where we do IP protection, search and analytics support, and policy institutional mechanisms, etc. And we also have a vast network of industry academia partnering, where we partner with industry and academia, and we have standardized mechanisms and contract management to do that. And of course, we also do technology scouting and open innovation. So with that very brief introduction of Venture Center and TechX, I would like to invite our speaker for today, Mr. Prateek Sharma, who is the co-founder and CEO of Helium. A very quick introduction before I hand over the forum to him. Mr. Prateek Sharma has a Bachelor's of Technology from IIT Roorkee. He is a Master of Science from the Center for Sports Engineering Research. He has experience. He is a founder. He has built Helium into a leading D2C athleisure brand, and he's focused on bamboo-based performance wear. They have reached more than 1 million customers through a digital-first strategy and strong e-commerce presence. He drives product R&D, brand strategy, and high operational efficiency. And their expertise is building lean, resilient teams in India's competitive performance wear market. With that very short introduction, I hand over the talk to him. Welcome. No weekends. There are a lot of participants.
Achha.
So we have almost 37 people here online.
All right, great. Sorry, I just wanted to also get a sense of who the listeners are. So briefly, I'm not sure if they can hear me online. I'm sure they can, right? Just a show of hands, I want to understand what everybody's, if they're founders in the room, what your startup is about, but not about the product or the company. Just give me a sense of who your customer is. If your customer is a direct consumer, do you sell directly to people or is it organizations? Yeah, whose customers are real people? Show of hands. Two, three, four. And who are selling to organizations here? I'm not sure how can I.
Online people, please type in the chat.
Yeah.
I'm going to read it out.
Who are the other people selling to? Is some are selling directly to people, the others with organizational, who are selling both to organization and customers? Both. Both. I'm guessing there's some, mostly customers. I'm guessing more people are selling directly to customers rather than organizations. Okay. How many don't know who their customer is? Are the people who don't know who their customer is? They're still figuring out who to sell to. Okay. Are the slides here already? Okay. Great. So I wanted to make this session more informative and more helpful to whoever's listening, right? Any which way I can give you some guideline on how to think about building whatever scale of organization you plan on building. If there's some systems that you can really copy and paste in your organization or some processes that you can really steal from us, please feel free to do so. All right. So figuring out the opportunity again in our context, we figured out there are a lot of brands out there. Some are organized, some are less organized. There is a large volume of unorganized market still in India, and high quality. Primarily, when we started, we were looking at sportswear, but now in general, high quality products are still, if you think of it, not really there in the market. And primarily back in 2017-18, there were very few brands who were really competing in the athleisure space. Like sports as a, if you deduct cricket out of it, sports still was something of a hobby or maybe a recreational activity for people. But with things like marathons, Tata Mumbai Marathon that has caught up now High Rocks is also catching up fast. This has become a leading space of growth now for people, right? And we figured out there's an opportunity here because there's a void. And D2C had just started in India. Amazon had come to India in 2013. There was Flipkart there already. They were trying to catch up. And nobody, there was nobody there in the space really. Although we started as a, we were trying to build a running shoe back then, but we found an opportunity in the athleisure space. There's a long backstory to this, but we found an opportunity. We tried to like maximize our approach to it, and then really started building Helium back in 2018. So you guys need to find your niche. I'm sure most of you have already found where you want to work on, and hopefully identified who your customer is. So the way we operate in this space is we don't really look at technology as your, first instance of start. We look at what the customer problem is. And as founders, we do have a lot of bias towards how we look at these problems. Most founders fall in the trap of figuring or thinking that the problem that they are facing is the problem that most people are facing. It's more often than not the case. So the way we now approach it after having gone through this iteration so many times is we depend on customer for identifying these most important problems that we want to solve, right? And any new product that we develop is primarily focused on solving those problems. Whether it is something that I like, that I'm very proud of in terms of technology. If I figured out either in the ways of design, in technology, or just the material blends that we use, if it's solving a problem, we are more than happy to go in that direction. So the first instance happens there. And now that we have sold to a large chunk of audiences, now we have figured out who our top customers are, who can give us really good feedback when we are developing new products. So we tend to have a larger cycle of product development, which is around 6 to 12 months. What we do is we co-create these products with them and then keep iterating. But once we've launched it, the second iteration needs to be much better than the first iteration. So we don't go back to our top 100 customers. We rather figure out who are the ones who are not happy with the product, the first product. And we then try and co-create the second iteration with them. So the second iteration tends to be much better than the first iteration. That always happens, right? So not really basing or biasing my product development cycle completely on my intuition. It's mostly who I'm selling to. So you need to figure out your customer and then figure out what their biggest problems are and try to sell to them directly by solving it. Okay. Now this is very critical. Now you've built a product. Now you want to sell to your customers. You have zero customers when you start. How do you then figure out who to sell to? Okay. So this is a discovery that everybody has to go through if you have a customer in mind. For us as a D2C brand, the first approach or the first channel to reach to a new customer is through marketing, right? It could be online, offline, it could be omni-channel marketing, but in our case, we try to be online first. So for us, it's a multi-channel approach where we market on Amazon, our website, Myntra, and most of these QComs also. And this is how we get our first customer. We also get repeat customers through this, but we try and get to the first customer through these approaches. Okay. These channels are the most useful for us. You get the first customer in. But I would say 90% of the brands fail here and they don't get a second purchase from their customers because your product fails. You can sell to the customer once, but your product doesn't work, they won't buy it again. So get your first customer through marketing, but your product will get you the second customer. And then you get the customer trust only when you provide exceptional customer experience. So even repeat customers will not buy from you again if their experience of buying from you is not that great. The product may be very good, but they would tell you, okay, your customer service is not good, or you take 10 days to reach us, or when I call you, nobody picks up, and I would rather go to another brand and buy from them. So you have to, in our case, we have to master these three things, and we really focus very, very heavily on each and every aspect, depending on where in the stage of our company we are. So I have a very, very different approach to team building. I actually want less people and more money, right? Simple life. People problems when you grow beyond, I would say 50 people would become the main source of your mental bandwidth consumption. No matter how good your team is, how senior your folks are, whether you deal with Gen Zs or non-Gen Zs, it will always be your biggest pain point. It will consume the most amount of time as a founder. And obviously, I would advise not to get into like individual nitty-gritties of every employee. So you have to figure out how you build your team very, very early on. And again, if you can minimize the team size, in my opinion, as a brand, if you can reach more customers with less team size, do that. All right. Uh, the way we approach it is we have one person. We used to have one person super team. So in marketing, we used to have only one person, and they would then manage the entire function. If that person is not able to manage that function, he's not the right person for that team. It is not that big. If you can leverage technology or your online marketplaces, you only require one person. That is the reality of D2C. But nowadays with AI, I would say for some certain functions, we don't even need that person. You can run that function without having anybody in the team. So for example, the design team, I think I'm covering AI later on as well. But for the design team, we don't have a designer in house. Right. So from a team strength, I'm not sure I've written it here. From a team strength point of view, we are around 64, 65 folks in the company right now. 85% I would say are blue collar workers. Only 15% are individual core team members. And everybody is handling their own department on their own. And there are two founders in the company. It's a very flat hierarchy, only three levels. If we do a skip level, we reach directly to the operators. And the team size with the revenue has actually come down. Used to have had 75, 80 odd folks earlier. But with the AI as your digital staff member, you can actually cut down that team to a even simpler, solid framework of people and culture, and really leverage the individual abilities of your team members. So hire very carefully in the middle management, I would say. so that you can, really grow the team in areas where you can scale with fewer folks. Right. And obviously it helps with cost elimination as well, because people tends to be, when your organization becomes bigger, people and the HR cost becomes a little too high. And especially in functions, again, I don't know what your startups are currently in, but if you can really invest that money in acquiring customers, then do that rather than building a very large team, a bloated team, and then later on, like most companies are now figuring out that they have too many folks with AI, right? Every other month you see people getting laid off. I would say that is not really because of AI. I think that's just mishiring. They could have hired less and empowered their team more. So this is super critical. This, I think, is one thing that people should copy, because we had, again, I'm personally in this journey for the last 10 years. Company is 9 years old, and this is what we figured out. Founders have to start saying no to stuff. We just get involved in everything. Did anybody read that Paul Graham essay, by the way? Founder mode versus manager mode. How many have read that? These founder mode folks want to get into everything, every nitty-gritty of running the company. Sometimes you have to don that hat, but most often than not, you can leave it to your team. Managers are good. Let your managers do the work, right? So we've broken this down into 3 levels. L1 level is where you take daily decisions, which is more often than not a non-scalable decision. For example, एक process था जो फट गया. No, you can't really. There is some firefighting happening somewhere. Let's say the order that was supposed to be dispatched today is delayed by a few hours. As a founder, you don't need to get into those nitty gritties. You let your operating staff or your first level staff take care of it, and let your managers handle those direct reportees. You, as a founder, should move as much away from these nitty gritties as possible as your brand or as your startup scales. Now, the second level is more important, which is where your process is broken in a way that you actually need to improve that process for it to function well. So you learn from those quick fixes or fires that you are putting out on a daily basis and figure out ये रोज रोज क्यों कर रहा हूँ मैं. Rather, fix that problem once and for all, and that is a level 2 problem that you should solve. But again, as founders, minimize your time doing these things and empower your managers to solve these problems. Otherwise, your managers will get in a habit of coming to you for every decision. They will ask you ये करना है कि नहीं. Every day you will hear from them, ये मैं सोच रहा हूँ ये करूँ कि नहीं. That basically means that you are not empowered them to take these decisions on their own, and you have to be happy, not really happy, but you have to be okay letting them fail on certain occasions. Okay, because they will fail, and when they fail, if you really have an outburst about why didn't you do it my way, they will be very, very scared of even trying later on, right? So I say fewer folks, but only when these conditions apply. If you don't really empower a team member, then you'll have to have a very bloated team. So these managers, we say, should have a founder mentality where they can take their decisions on their own, fail, learn from it, and then make better decisions later on. And then level 3 is where the founder should really put most of their time, which is the system building, process building, company building, these kind of initiatives, because this is where the next level or the growth engine really starts working for you, right? So building the entire system architecture is one thing that every founder should be deeply involved in. Thinking about people and culture in their companies, the operations, the supply chain, if it's a hardware startup, the way you want to market, the way you want to project your brand. All these areas are the ones where you should take your decisions. Obviously, involve your managers also, that they can learn and grow themselves. So I typically tend to do one thing better than I was doing last year, is trying to say no to most stuff. Like even when my managers come, or any organization also comes for, let's say, like do a podcast, or they want to do like a small interview for their paper. If the time that I've allotted for that particular month is already booked, I would tend to tell them, okay, I may not have time for this, so I politely say no to it, and then immediately figure out a good way to allocate that time to growth. So you have to like traverse that tightrope very, very carefully. Customer service I've already spoken about, but again, we this is just an example of how we operate. So most brands that you say from customer service point of view, you would have different experiences of working with different kinds of even platforms, right? So Amazon operates very differently from maybe Meesho, right? Where would you say you have better customer experience, Amazon or Meesho? Amazon, yeah, exactly. So what they tend to do have is, even with brands, they have like a very strict SLA, which is a service level agreement on how long you can take to dispatch an order, right? So we've sort of stolen a lot of their systems, by the way. The internal, so they have a fulfilled by Amazon kind of a thing, which is like they store the products locally so that they can ship early and quickly. We have an internal warehousing structure which we call FBH, which is fulfilled by Helium, and we tend to also try and mimic their process. So no need to reinvent the wheel too many times if it's already there. You need to change it according to your organization. But what we tend to do is, whenever there's a customer query, we immediately raise a ticket and the team has to resolve it in 6 hours. This is very critical because if you just tell them to do it in 6 hours, there is no accountability. People will tell the other person to do it, and the other person will say, I was not told properly, and there is no mail chain, there is no written documentation for it. What happens is, now there's an automated ticket generation and they have to resolve it in 6 hours, one way or the other, right? The other way is for us to figure out, okay, how do you provide a good customer service? Is you talk to the customer and understand what they wanted in the service. Sometimes you dispatch a product and the customer doesn't know about the product, where it is, right? And in most cases, you tend to depend on either WhatsApp or email or some of these regular channels of communication, but the customer is not attentive. What you do in that case is you reach out to them proactively once and tell them, okay, we've fulfilled this or we've resolved this issue, before they reach out to you. That is a trust building exercise for you as a brand. That tends to like fall well with the customer, because they know, okay, the brand has called me themselves rather than me reaching out to them, because that's their regular experience with everybody else. So these delta things that you do for uh, any of your customers will really take you far in your journey. And exceptional customer experience for us is a core value. We have 5 core values, and customer service is the second most important core value for us. The first one being make great products. So that's it. Again, I have a lot of different short I would say tidbits to give you maybe later on if we have some time for quick Q&A. Yeah, sure.
I think I'll get it started, then others can also
Sure.
ask. But now you're sort of the top brand in certain segments on Amazon.
Yeah.
For example, right now. So those segments, if you look at brand, I mean, how you have built the brand compared to other large brands and so on and so forth, what do you think has made you a top brand? Because you're competing with the Adidas of the world
Yeah.
and so on and so forth in some of those brands, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, socks and so on and so forth. So what has made that possible?
Yeah, I think price is definitely an audit, because India is a very price sensitive market and we sell at a premium. We are 2 times, 3 times more expensive than any other brand. So price is not it. It primarily is customer obsession. It says we solve some problems that other brands are not solving. And that is why we are charging a premium. By the way, we make like products which are based or made in bamboo material or blends, but customer doesn't care about it if it's not solving their problem. So if you solve their problems very well, it tends to give you some edge. Now, obviously, time I feel is mostly overlooked. Time in the market. So we've been there for a very long time. 8 years of being on Amazon builds some kind of equity if you've been serving the customer well for a very long time. So that also helps. There's a momentum attribute to it as well. I think we've been at it for a very long time. So resilience, I would say, has also helped here.
So in that, there's product quality, of course, or design and features and all of that. Then there must be some amount of marketing and branding that you do. And then there must be some of your customer service as well.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe there's more. You can tell us. But out of these three, right? What do you think helps build that brand? in your case?
Yeah, I think all three. I would not say one would survive without the other, but most important would be the product. If the product does not work, then you won't have repeat customers.
Hmm.
You can market as much as you want. You can reach the customer, they'll buy it once and they will not buy it again from you. So product has to be exceptional. And then if you want to build trust, as I said, it has to be high. You have to have exceptional customer experience. If not better, then at least at par with all the others, either brands or platforms. You have to match that at least, or go above and beyond a little bit. Like the one activity that we do, which differentiates us from other brands, is the 100 customers that we've identified. We've built all of them in Pune because we have a large customer base now. We found it very easy to figure out who the nearest customers for us could be. And even the ones which are not really happy with the product, we also reach out to them. But these 100 customers that are based out of Pune, we tend to visit them every weekend. Like we figure out, okay, let's go visit these 5 customers who bought from us 1 year ago and figure out what do they like, what do they don't like, how the product aged with them. And no brand is doing that, by the way. Have you seen anybody come to you and say, okay, you bought this product 1 year ago from us, and how's it doing?
Are they willing to talk to you? Like
some don't talk. So we figured out these 100 customers after calling maybe 500 customers. Some are not very generous with their time, but some people are more than happy if you reach out to them.
yeah.
We don't do any customer segmentation.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. How do you go about doing a customer segmentation?
I don't any customer segmentation at all.
So, are you saying that your brand is available for all kinds of
Everybody,
age, all kinds of age groups, demographics?
Obviously, there is a sweet spot.
Yeah.
So we do build these customer personas. For us, it's 70-30, 70% male, 30% female, 25 to 44 age bracket. But this is just a graph on the screen, right, for us. But we serve everybody. These customers tend to be the biggest chunk of our customer base.
Okay.
Again, this is something that AI has completely taken away. If you make like a creative for your brand, the targeting happens on its own now. You don't really need to give like interests. We used to give that in marketing earlier. These ad managers that you run on Meta and stuff. You used to give interest, demographics, gender, age group, all that. That has been taken away completely because the algorithm already knows who your customer is based on purchase history. So we just make these creators, they work and they send it out to the.
That is about, let's say, like the product which is there in the market for long, right?
Yeah.
If you're launching a new product,
Yeah.
right? How do you figure out customer which is most suited for you? With how you're going to target those kind of customers first?
Let me add to that. So,
Yeah.
for example, you have only so much money to spend on marketing, right?
Yeah.
So you'll probably target it towards certain customer segments. Probably
Yeah.
that's what he's asking. Is there some logic behind it? How do you decide those things? Is there some strategy?
Yeah, we
How
don't
you're
really decide that.
Yeah.
And the algo decides. Because we
Okay.
do only online marketing. We don't do offline. So we
Okay.
don't have to go to like specifically malls or temples or hospitals. We don't decide that. Online is very sorted. If you are building a brand, this is the easiest time to build a brand, by the way.
Right.
Yeah. But for segmentation point of view, this is a good question because when we are building a product,
Yeah.
that is when segmentation really matters. And the way we currently build products is around that customer persona only. So we reach out to these 100 customers because they fall in that customer bracket. We're not really targeted elderly yet or children yet.
Right.
There's some products here and there, but we tend to focus on these existing audiences so that if I know 70% of my customer fall in this bracket and they'll keep coming to my website, I would rather show products that they'll use rather than some other product which nobody will really buy because it's an outlier.
Yes.
Why would I do that? I mean, from a maximizing your ROI perspective, I would build products for this customer persona, but it gets used by everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi.
Thank you.
What did you do for trademarks and all of these things? Like, since
Not
did
required.
you?
I would say trademarks are also not required for D2C anymore.
No, it is. Or it can automatically you get it if you're using it.
Yeah.
Trademarks is not something you necessarily have to register, right? As long as you're using it, that is fine.
Yeah.
But people recognize you, right, with your own brand and so on and so forth. Now, beyond that, what else do you have to do to make it visible to people besides your what you're doing on the channel itself, on Amazon or
Yeah.
whatever it is there anything else you need to present your, is there anything else you need to do to present your brand to people?
Yeah, I think you'll have to identify the, or you have to figure out the brand identity in the beginning. Again, you can make these iterations, but I think subconsciously when people keep seeing the same kind of logos, designs, fonts, colors, they do recognize it belongs to that brand. What am I looking at, right? So Mercedes are very specific.
Recall, right? Recall your term.
Yeah, recall.
Right.
So they don't know why they are going to this particular website sometimes. Why do they recognize a particular font? It is that brand recall that comes to the picture. But you have to, keep hammering that again and again, without it being like too tiring for the customer sometimes. That do help. But that's very, I would say, the things that I've really presented here are little later on in the stage. I'm assuming most people have done their brand identity, customer identification already. That's why I asked who your customer is. Yeah. So if you want to ask them. Yeah.
Okay, I have also one question.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that you only focus on online marketing.
Yeah.
So, means are you not into this offline marketing, going into some kind of events
Yeah.
like High Rocks or any athlete
Yeah.
event? So, just be more specific.
Yeah.
Is the cost factor is the main point of taking decision, or any other thing also you have in mind? That, let's say, cost we keep aside. We
Yeah.
know that online offline marketing are a costly affair in India,
Yeah.
particularly when customer are too much price sensitive, and sports, I guess, sports brand or this athlete brand are not that much take into not that much priority. So only cost is the factor, or any other thing you have in mind, means not going into this offline
No, so
marketing?
cost is not the factor here. I'll give you a brief on the timeline of the company, right? We used to do everything. We were omni-channel. We went to all the running events. We were in Tata Mumbai Marathon also, by the way. Back in 2018-19, we were there. But at some point in your stage, you'll have to figure out what you can focus on with the limited amount of time you have, right? So we could see channel X, channel Y, channel Z working parallelly for us. We could see higher ROI on online expansion. But I was not able to give equal amount of time, like more amount of time to the channel that was really popping out. So for me to figure out, okay, I need to focus on this, I had to say no to do two other things, right? You have to get better at saying no to some items. But for some businesses, like offline would be the right channel. For us, we thought, okay, it's not growing as fast as the online channel. Why should I invest more time here or equal amount of time here?
Okay, it means you are implying that focus, if we are focusing in this more, we are getting maximum out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said I'll give you some tidbits. I'll give you another tidbit. Okay. From a decision making point of view, right? Uh, the the core part of me saying no to certain decisions is because I have limited brain capacity. I've understood that. Some days I take only one good decision. Some days I'll take three good decisions. Some days I can't take any decision. I have to take really, really bad decisions, right? Some days the brain doesn't work. I take zero decisions. If I have so limited mental capacity, why would I invest in deciding everything in my company? I would take multiple bad decisions on a day, right? So I limit the number of decisions I could take, and I limit them to L3 or L2 decisions only. I don't take L1 decisions at all. Like some employees in my company would be very unhappy, by the way, saying I am not support they need. But again, not generalizing, but this is sort of spoiling the young Gen Z, where they need the kind of freedom they enjoy the freedom, but also say there is a lack of support. They're not being supported enough, right? So it's a mixed bag. You have to be happy with it. I mean,
That's the question in the back, I think.
Yeah. Pratik, question is related to the pricing. Since you have positioned the products at a premium scale in the market, like how did you do your price discovery?
no, I did it the other way around. I figured out, okay, this much is the gross margin I want, and then we priced it. It was very simple for us. 72% gross margins. This is the way we need to operate because you want to be profitable. Again, we've not really raised funds, right? We raised one round because we won a competition and they offered us money. Early on, we took it. But since then, we've not really raised money, right? 2018 onwards, we're not. Because we wanted to be profitable from month one, and we were for the last 8 years. So pricing for us was very simple, and again, pricing is a very tricky area. Very hard to raise prices. We've not raised prices for the last 5 years. It's time to raise price because of raw material price increase. But it could be like it could run both ways. If you want to really capture the market early, you price competitively lower than your competitors, and then you'll have to raise a lot of money. We did not want to raise money, so
Especially in Indian conditions where the price sensitivity plays a huge role,
yeah.
right? So
It does. It does. The top 10, if you see socks brands, the top 10 brands on Amazon, nobody's at our price. We are just selling so premium. We are the number one brand. We are bigger than Jockey now. It again, I'm saying it is also because of the momentum. We've been there for 8 years, just toiling away, that we were able to really capture the market. But again, I can say I beat Jockey online on Amazon because again, their 10% sales come from Amazon. The rest of 90% comes offline, where I'm not operating, right? But I was choosing not to say that early. And I reveal that information as well. Obviously, they are much bigger than us. They are a legacy company, but you have to figure out, okay, where do you want to operate and where do you want to beat the legacy companies? On
Can I
their own
just
ground of offline or
one online question I'll take. Sorry, please continue.
no, go ahead.
So one online question from Ultimate Sports. If you're launching new products, do you do remarketing or approach who visited your website and didn't make any purchase? And second question is, are you open for partnering with sports IP as a category sponsor?
No. So for the second question, no, because we don't do that. And again, we've said no to partnership.
What's your rationale?
We don't have time. Don't have time. It's a very small team. It's very focused. And still they've struggled with time because there's so much to do and so little time left for us. So we don't do partnerships. From a scale ROI point of view, it doesn't make sense for us. It doesn't reap much benefit to us. And the first question was on remarketing, right? We do that. Used to do
If
that.
you're launching a new product, would you do remarketing or approach who visited your website and didn't make any purchase? That means if you're designing a new product, I mean, are you going with the same guys and selling it again, or is it to new segment of?
Yeah, so we don't really mark the percentages of this customer segmentation of new and old. Again, most of these new algorithms or platforms are very good at really marketing whether it should be the old customer or the new customer on their own. So I would say not to fiddle with it too much. Give the money to the algorithm and see if it's working for you or not. And then you can make tweaks. But remarketing automatically happens now. I think 20-30%. We have a repeat rate of around 28%. So, but when we are developing new product, I think that's what the question is. For new product development, we have these repeat customers, 100 customers who test out new products. They get it for free. We get customer feedback. We make better iteration in production number 2. And then we send out, obviously, there are ways to remarket it. Whenever somebody's searching helium, I show them new products rather than old products. That helps.
We'll take a question here, then online. Did you also have a question? Yeah, after that. Yeah, please go ahead.
What stood out for me was that you said every weekend you're getting feedback.
Yeah.
What was it? What I would like to know is, does that feedback go back into your product development? Is that continuously improving, or how do you use that information? Of course, you'll have feedback about your product and about your service, but
yeah. So for us, it does because our production cycle is a little shorter now. It used to be a little longer, and we make products in batches. So any new product or existing product that customers are not happy about, we send it to our vendor directly. We do some iterations, some improvements. Like there's a durability issue, we say improve it in the next batch. And there are people sitting in Tirupur in our team who makes it happen. So that feedback loop is very important. Otherwise, customers will not really trust you. You don't make improvements. And we also own up to like batch failures. You tell them, okay, this was a bad batch. We can give you a replacement. That also is a trust building exercise. You lose some money, but you like get a customer for life in that case. The LTV is very high.
Okay. Just one.
Can you quantify the value, volume, and success? Why do you say you're successful today, and the path you took today till last 8 years? If you had taken some other path, would you have been more aggressive and grown multiple times?
Yeah, I think the parameter for success for us would be when we don't really have to increase the team size and the top line increases on its own because you're getting new customers in without really investing more money. Right. So the first customer that we get is obviously we spend money on it. But if you tune it right, you keep getting those customers. They say no, you feel successful when you earn money while you're sleeping. So that tends to happen in these platforms. If you crack that algorithm or obviously there are too many nuances to it. Your listing, how you make things, who you targeting, and how you are solving their problem and all that. But for us, the success is that we get to the top and you stay on the top. So
share some numbers, the volume you do, what you manufacture, you sell, and the
Yeah.
value of sales.
Yeah. So I think we closed last year at around 55 crores. This year, I think we are projecting to close at around 75 or hit like 100 CR ARR early. And we get revenue per employee of around 1.2 or something now at a current ARR. So we are at around maybe 70 with 64 employees, 1.1 crore per employee.
And what about the portfolio? Are you going to expand it, add more products?
Yes, of course. So
how much is it currently, and what?
Yeah, so this is a good problem to have, which is if you're leading in a particular category, you grow as much as the pie, or to eat onto the other brands to really grow your category in that case. So once you reach that level where you are in the top 5 or top 3, very little scope to grow. You grow as much as the category is growing, or you eat into the other brands, as I said. So you have to keep launching new categories. And this feedback loop helps, which is you go to the customer, top 100 customers, we co-create the products with them, send them free samples, they give us feedback, and then we launch better iterations of second. Very simple.
Yeah, just to there's something called Bliss Club and there's Fredo.
Yes.
They have similar products now, but they have grown very aggressively and kind of with both offline online presence.
Yeah.
So do you see yourself following that, or you will continue in this?
Yeah, I'm more than happy seeing other brands grow. It's not a zero-sum game. You can coexist with them. It's a very large market. Jockey is a big competitor for us because it's a legacy brand, still has 70% of the market. And people they search their brand terms, not innerwear or socks, right? They search jockey socks or jockey innerwear. They're a big brand. Well, that's the North Star for us. New brands, they do their marketing. If their product's inferior, we hop onto their customers, we get new customers. They're building, they're growing the market for us in a way. So we don't really look at the competitors as much. Like some founders do look at competitors very carefully. We don't, because again, I don't think it's very good use of our time.
Pulled out exports and only focus on domestic?
We've done everything, but then we closed also. We close very quickly. We say no and we close down stuff very fast. Yeah. So we were in 10 countries at a time, at a particular point in time. We are just wrapping up UAE as well. We were in 2 countries, now UAE is also closing soon.
Why?
Could not find time to really invest there or money. Again, it was the unit metrics did not make sense for us. A small market, we only do online, very small market.
Time you mean it's primarily marketing time, right?
No.
Bandwidth.
So inventory management takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Coordinating and sending, and then returns don't come back from UAE because you have to scrap it there. That you are basically burning your inventory there, and then they charge you money also for it. Not fair.
Probably you need a
Selling
local
here.
partner to do it there.
Yeah, that's again offline. I don't want to do really. Again, it's a very give and take. If you want to really invest there, you have to invest like fully. Otherwise, like we became number 1 in UAE very quickly, but then again, it was very small percentage. Like one city in India was doing more sales than UAE itself. It's a very small market, and people were still doing a lot of offline shopping in the UAE.
Okay.
Small.
We'll just take a question online.
Yeah, before we do that, there's some appreciation for you, Prateek and Siddharth, for building Helium with a solid foundation. It's
Thank you.
come in the comments here. Pujita, I have unmuted you. You can tell your questions.
Hi, my name is Vishal. Actually, Pujita is my sister's name. I'm using her laptop.
Just a moment.
Hi, Prateek. It was great hearing your talk. In fact,
Pujita, just a moment.
Can you repeat the question?
no. First of all, my name is Vishal. Actually, Pujita is my sister's name. I'm using her.
Can you just repeat the question?
There'll be several because.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Am I audible?
Yeah, we will have to speak out your question. We are not able to hear you.
ठीक है, understood. First question I wanted to ask is Helium in the brand licensing game? What is their strategy with regard to being brand licensees
You're not
in India? Is that something that they do aggressively?
Yeah, just a moment. So, first question is, are you in the brand licensing game, Prateek? No.
What factors affect, say, a brand like Helium's decision to be in brand licensing or not in brand licensing? That is one thing I wanted to ask. And second is, uh, with regard to offline channels, uh, when,
Can you type
the,
out your questions? It will be better to take from there.
sure, I will do that. In the meanwhile, you could.
Very clearly.
Again, this was just a serendipitous realization for us. We had a problem in mind. This material was really solving it. Nobody was using that material back in 2017. Now it's sort of become a little more mainstream. People are using it for bedding linens and stuff as well. But back then, nobody was using it for solving our problem. Little pricey, but this is now at par with cotton prices now because so much import is happening from China now.
Yeah.
Everybody is. Nobody makes in India. It's only the fiber that comes from China. And then they do the threading, they make the yarn here. So it's raw material import, basically. Yeah. We will continue to do bamboo because it's become like part of the brand fabric now. Yeah. So we are getting into loungewear, by the way. Yeah, soon. Very. Oh, why not? It depends on the demand. The way we select a particular category is we don't go after smaller categories now. We look at big categories, like big players and like big search volumes. Very, very congested also. It works for us. Because if it's a small pie, you'll have to invest a lot in marketing and like growing that category yourself. I don't have money. I'm not funded by big VCs, so can't grow that category. So I look at bigger categories where a dominant legacy player is there. I make and like their customer segments who are not happy with a legacy player, some form or the other. We identify that problem, we co-create that product with them and then launch. Yeah.
Can you use the mic? Is it on?
No, it's on.
So a lot of companies have outsourced the manufacturing.
Yes.
And then they get it manufactured, then they do the branding or printing or anything. Yeah. Anything of that you plan to do in the future?
We do contract manufacturing as well.
Okay.
We don't do any manufacturing on our own. It's very cost, time, extensive.
All right.
But the way we do it is we control inputs very, very tightly.
All right.
So instead of hiring them to build our products, we hire their machines and people.
Wow.
So we'll say, give me 100 machines.
Okay.
100 folks to run these operations. We get those 100 machines exclusively and we run our operations there.
That's great.
We don't want to mix it with other brands.
All right.
We don't want to get into manufacturing also. So that's a different ballgame. We are not really experts in manufacturing. And again, there is a inventory risk in our business. So we don't work only with one vendor. We work with multiple vendors across India.
All right.
On contract manufacturing. If one doesn't really work out for us, we can hop onto the other one and increase their capacity rather than be like on the mercy of one vendor. For every product, we have at least 3 vendors now.
All right. So are you open to, synergizing with any brand which is, starting to get into this segment? No. Okay.
Sorry, I'm being very blunt here.
No, absolutely. We love that. We love that part. It's very honest. And one last question. A lot of people are getting into this apparel business, where they're trying to make an apparel brand by, getting the t-shirts manufactured somewhere, then doing the printing and all. Any tips for them? Because a lot of them also fail. So, a lot of people are coming in and also going out. So what is your suggestion for those people who are actually trying to build a brand, apparel brand, and they're picking up, t-shirts, jeans from the manufacturers and then getting some printing, some embossing done? Any tips for them to, really?
I think figure out who your customer is.
Okay.
And then just solve whatever problem you are trying to solve.
All right.
Properly. And give very good customer experience.
All right.
The buying experience really matters if you are looking at repeat customers. Because it's again, as I said, trust building exercise for US founders and also for the customers to really put trust in the brand. So if you do these two things well, build a great product based on their problems, and serve them
Right.
well,
Right.
there's a lot of space in the
A
market.
lot of space in there. Do we have some vendors here in Pune, or we have to look out of Pune?
Yeah.
You have to look.
Depending on what kind of product you want to build, you either go north or you go south.
Tirupur, like
You
Chennai.
either go Tirupur or you go to Ludhiana.
And how about Mumbai and Surat?
Yeah, Mumbai, I think Palghar is a good build.
Bhiwandi,
Bhiwandi
Vanjar
also has some
Naka.
manufacturers, but
Yeah.
we don't really operate with any of them.
Okay. All right.
We have some vendors also outside of India.
All right.
I think
Used to work with them earlier, but not anymore.
Not
Very
anymore.
India focused now.
All right. Yes.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah.
I think let's
yeah.
go to the question here and then close.
One more, last question: that what's your means spent on research and development? Not exactly amount,
Yeah.
but how you spent on your research and development,
Yeah.
and are your new launches pre-defined, pre-planned? Means, let's say of next 1 year or next 2 years.
Yeah.
Or how you take the decisions that what products you are going to launch?
Yeah, I would say I have a pipeline of around 18 months already, because every new product takes around 12 months, 6 to 12 months to launch. So we have that 18-month pipeline already set. It's usually always delayed. So I have a lot of stuff already lined up for until like end of 27.
It's not impulsive in 2 or 3 months.
It's very
you
planned,
don't
as I
take-
said. No, it's the same
Okay.
customer segment, new product.
And research and development lab here or at Tirupur?
No, so the research and development extent for us is these product development cycles with the customer.
Okay.
Blending and figuring out the right composition also happens at the vendor's end, but obviously there's a coordination between the HQ here and all these vendors.
Okay.
So we do work with Citra a lot, and every one of these individual vendors, again, we work with bigger vendors, which are most of them are listed companies, so they have their own lab setup, and we tend to use that extensively. Yeah. So there are 3-4 things that we really need to take care about in terms of apparel, which is durability, softness, feel, and obviously I would say uh, performance in some cases, maybe.
Performance maybe with sport.
Yeah.
Any
But
particular
very specific in specific cases. If it's like soft, good feel, durable, I think it checks all the boxes for us. Yeah.
By the way, while you mentioned, that you guys are not too concerned about trademark and so on.
Yeah.
Right? If somebody else launches it your name, what will you do?
Yeah, we do have a trademark, by the way.
Yeah.
We
So,
protect it.
and also, I think when you do Amazon asks you for it, isn't it?
Yeah. So if you want brand registration, you need to supply them with the trademark.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that is a requirement as well, right?
No, it's not. But if you want to protect from fraudulent sellers or scammers, it's easier to do the trademark rather than like reporting every scamster.
Yeah.
That takes away a lot of your time. But it's not required. You can start tomorrow also on Amazon. Not really. Not really.
Did you get the trademark easily, or you some more calls?
Nothing. No, it was not easy. Back in 2018-19, it was not easy. It took us around 2-3 years to get the trademark here.
So there were no, settings.
No, there were many. So because the name is very common. So we had to like specify which categories you want to target in terms of trademark. And yeah.
Yeah. So Prateek, this is the last question we'll take from online. Pujita had a question which we couldn't get it on the sound, so I'll read it out for you. What is your, there are 3 questions. What is your offline channel development strategy, supporting academies, run clubs, etc.? Do you have any offline channel development
No.
strategy right now?
No.
Yeah, you said that you burnt your fingers.
Yeah.
Tried it out in the bag
Yeah.
before and
It's not a scalable exercise for us. I mean, you have to go to every other one. It doesn't scale on its own. Can't scale when you're sleeping.
Yeah.
Not really a target area for us.
Are you considering being brand licensees for a sports team or academy entity, etc.?
We also burned our fingers there. I think we were with Rajasthan Royals for a bit, but just a waste of money.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of marketing and business development budgets do you have?
It's a very, I would not reveal that, but I'd say we operated around 20% in terms of marketing cost.
So anyway, she also said, it was great hearing you today, Prateek. Cut my teeth in sports management industry. Hearing your talk was a nice trip down memory lane.
Yeah. It's very, yeah, I mean, it's a tough segment. Like, especially the sports management bit is a little hard. I know quite a few friends in that category. It's a little hard.
Okay,
Nice.
great. So thank you very much,
Okay.
Prateek. I think we'll stop here with your talk. Let's give him a round of applause. Yeah. And let me just formally just thank. Can I get that? Some goodies for you. Sorry?
You're not giving back
I hope not. Did they do that? By the way, we normally give our own startup stuff to for speakers. So one of the favorites is helium socks and so on. So there's definitely some jaggery out here. So meetha bhi hai. Thank you. Okay, I think let's begin with the rest of it. If you have time, you can. Yeah, they see no nonsense, Prateek. Okay, let's begin with the rest of the sessions, right? I think over to Kavita and then.
Can I request someone to unmute themselves and speak so that we can check the microphones here, speakers here? Yeah, you can mute. Yeah, you can unmute yours.
Yash, can you just try out speaking?
Yeah. Hi, good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, sorry.
Good. Okay, let's begin. Over to you, Kavita. Please start.
So I'm going to introduce a very interesting panel, and I'm also going to.
Please speak.
We are going to set the camera so that you can see the panelists. So just give us 2 minutes. And I'm also going to invite Dr. Premnath. After introducing him, he's going to be moderating the session. Before that, he will be setting the context for this panel discussion, right? Yes, that's Mitali trying to make sure that you can see all our panelists. Yeah. Go.
Yeah, can you start?
Floating.
I think we should just begin, please.
Yeah.
Not waste too much time here.
So we have as a panelist Hardik Agarwal, who is the co-founder and CEO. He is a design-driven entrepreneur building game-based learning experiences which blend education, engagement, and social connections. He has a bachelor's in graphic design from Vishwakarma University. So very warm welcome to you.
I think the company name is missing. It's Block and Roll.
Yeah.
Okay, so good.
Yes, so welcome Hardik. We have Yash Golia who has joined online. Thank you, Yash, for joining. He's the founder of Suryadev Plastic Electronics and he's an engineer working at the intersection of wearable tech and printed electronics and smart apparel for everyday use. He has a bachelor's degree and a communications in engineering from Technical University of Munich and a bachelor's degree from University of Mumbai. Welcome. A warm welcome to Harshesh Gokani, who is the co-founder and lead for Health, Harshesh has a bachelor's of technology in mechanical engineering from National Institute of Technology, Karnataka, and he is a healthcare innovator focused on transforming physiotherapy. Welcome, Harshesh. We have Piyush Joshi. Welcome, Piyush, who is the co-founder of Orthocrafts Innovation with more than a polymer engineer with more than 15 years of experience in bioabsorbable medical devices for orthopedic applications. He is a BE polymer from Maharashtra University of Technology. A warm welcome to Divyakshi Kaushik. She is the founder of Anatomic. She is an entrepreneur building smart wearable solutions for recovery and wellness backed by science and product innovation. And she comes with a PG diploma in industrial product and design from MIT and a bachelor's degree in electronics from Pune University. And last but not least, we have Dr. Avijan Sinha. He is the founder and director of Tavicare. He's a senior physiotherapist and healthcare leader, advancing rehab practices through his expertise and research. And he's a master's in physiotherapy from Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences. So, a very warm welcome to our panelists. We'd like to invite them here. We have Dr. Premnath, who will be talking to us about, he'll be setting the context for this discussion. So,
You're going in the wrong direction.
a very brief introduction. Dr. Premnath has done his bachelor's from IIT Mumbai. I don't think he needs an introduction. He's an alumni of MIT and he's also a Chevening Technology Entrepreneurs Scholar from Cambridge. He was the former head of IP group at CSR NCL and plays a very key role in setting up the IP Facilitation Center and TechX at Venture Center. So with that very brief introduction, I'm going to invite Dr. Premnath to set the stage.
Yeah, I think in the meantime, you can join here,
Yeah.
right? And maybe just make sure the mics are working. Come, please. So I just have a couple of slides. I just wanted to give you a little bit of perspective. By the way, we are all here because 26th is World IP Day. Okay, and this time's theme is IP and sports, right? Ready, set, innovate. That's what the title is, right? Um, now, this is the creative that WIPO has put out, which is the World Intellectual Property Organization. And of course, a lot of organizations celebrate World IP Day. In fact, today morning I was at Cummins doing a talk because they were celebrating their prolific inventors over there as well. And many organizations will be doing it in the days today, tomorrow, and maybe 27th as well. So this is something which is important, but I just want to give you a few points from my side. You may not realize, but IP actually has a lot of different ways it comes into play, right? And in sports, actually, there are many dimensions in which it has been many ways IP has played a role. And it could be patents, it could be designs, it could be trademarks, it could be software, copyrighted software, it could be many such things, right? I just have a few examples here too. Some of you're a tennis player, so someone, even Kosh, the Divyakshi is, did you know that the name Roger Federer is a protected name? Okay, there's a trademark around that. Okay, or that lightning bolt of Usain Bolt is actually a protected trademark. Okay, people cannot use it without his permission, right? So, of course, we see people doing it all the time, but I'm not sure you can use this logo though, right? This is another very famous one, which is Gatorade. So, some of you might be aware, Gatorade is a drink which is used for hydration essentially. And it's an interesting story because the Gator word comes because this was invented in the university, which is, it's I think Florida State University. Okay, and their football team is called, the Gators. Okay, so that's how the name came. Is there some problem?
Yeah. It's very low suddenly.
Okay, can you hear me online?
It's become a little less loud, like it's not very clear.
How about now?
Move the position. Just move the position.
How about now?
Yeah.
Okay, let me try with this.
Yes, works.
Okay, so Gatorade is actually a drink, right? The interesting thing about it is that this is actually one of the largest deals in tech transfer from a university to industry. Okay, you may not have even thought about it, right? And by the way, this has an interesting backstory because this gentleman was actually seeing that the team members of the football team were, you know, losing steam during the game, and he wanted ways to hydrate these people. So he came up with this drink, but this is actually based on there are some principles common to the ORS that we use. And ORS has an India story, right? Because ORS was first developed for patients during cholera epidemic, right? And there's an Indian doctor from Bengal who contributed to the creation of the ORS solution itself. But this is actually a protected IP, which is one of the largest money makers for the Florida education system, interestingly. Also, some of the things which we see during Olympics and so on, like those match site scoreboards or the shoes that we're talking about, so the patterns, designs, copyrights, and so on and so forth. I think those are quite important as well. The FIFA ball that you see, there's a lot of branding around that. We heard a lot about, say, South Africa's FIFA World Cup, where the Jabulani was the ball, right? All that is part of the process itself. For me personally, also, I mean, for many years, I've always wanted to do something about artificial limbs. So it's great to see a lot of variety in different artificial limbs coming up. And you're seeing it in the Olympics as well now. And this is actually there are companies like Ottobock which hold a lot of IP in this domain as well. Okay, so there's a lot of scope for different types of IP with in the sports area, but that includes not only products which are relating to what happens in the game and the middle of the game, associated with the people who play it, people who make the products which sell related to the game, the brands involved, the various scoring systems that people use, and so on. Now, of course, that's the context in which we are doing today's event, which is the next slide. And I just want to give you a personal perspective on why it's important. Next slide, please. Right. So this is one of the reasons why I think the celebration is important. And I just wanted to leave you with this thought. First, IP is a great leveler. Okay. It is something where anybody can be a creator or owner of a property, right? Property, is an indicator of the assets you hold or wealth of you and your organization or your country, right? And anybody can do it from any socioeconomic context, from any educational background, and from any profession, right? So just imagine, if you think of say, King Charles, he has certain property, right? And that will belong to that monarchy, right? It's not something which J.K. Rowling can claim, right? But J.K. Rowling, who wrote the Harry Potter series, has created enormous property on her own. She's one of the richest women in the world today, right? And that is possible. Okay, that is not possible otherwise. So it's a very important reason we should be celebrating IP as a mechanism and a system. Second is, this is much of these kind of intellectual properties have a way of enriching people's lives, and there is scalability of benefits. Okay, and what do I mean by that? For example, if you take a song, a lot of people can hear it, right? It's not like it's limited. The joy of it is not limited to, say, somebody who owns a car and wants to drive on it, and that's it. That, it's not scalable. Okay, whereas many aspects of intellectual property are scalable in sharing of benefits as well. It's also apparently inexhaustible, right? It's not like a gold mine or an oil reserve, a petrol reserve. You can draw upon it endlessly. And for some of the countries who are a little behind in terms of development and in terms of prosperity, it's a great thing to happen, because that means that you have that opportunity to build wealth, right, over a period of time, improve the lives of your people, and so on and so forth. So that is another very interesting aspect of intellectual property. And finally, we talk a lot about especially patents as one category. And if you look at it, the patent database that is out there, right? These are public, published, open databases of useful knowledge, right? So you have know-how which is available freely to people and to empower them to use it, right? There's a period when you have to take permission from the inventors, but beyond that, it's available to you, right? And that is something, which is a boon, right? If you go to much of other kinds of repositories of knowledge, there'll be a lot about whys, but the hows, and especially the ones which people have used, is actually in the patent databases, right? So these are some reasons why I think, it's important to value the fact that the IP system exists and that it can create value. Sometimes people ignore the positive side of it, and it is important to keep that in mind as well. Okay, so I think that's an opening few comments. I think we can close this. Now let's go to the panelists. We have an interesting set of panelists, and I just wanted to request them to talk about their work and what they are doing as well. Can you keep Yash on? If you can close the slides and just, yeah. So, we have people here who are working in different domains. We have people who are working on sports medicine, physiotherapy, rehabilitation, board games, fitness, where we had Prateek as well out here, athleisure, and so on and so forth. Some aspects of at least, sports and games and so on and so forth. But so that is, uh, and there are multiple dimensions to what they are doing. And it's interesting how some of these creators are also building it out and taking it to the market and translating it into things that people can use, right? And it's that journey that I thought we can speak about today and explore, what has been their experiences and what they've learned along the way, right? So I'll first start by requesting each of them to talk a little bit about their own, what products they make, right? Or making or are making, and what is it that inspired them to get on that journey as well. Of course, I know some of you do more than sports as well, but you can focus, you can also talk a little bit about some of the things which you're doing which are relevant to sports and games as a field itself. So I'll start with you, Dr. Vijan Sinha, right? So I think let's talk about, he is actually not only a physiotherapist, he is also an avid innovator and he's also an entrepreneur. So I think it's good to have him here. Thank you for taking the time out. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the ideas you've been cooking up, right?
Sir,
And also what motivated you to do those, right? Over to you.
sir, thank you so much for calling me here. So first of all, I will tell whatever I am doing today, it is because of you. Means you and uh, madam, of course. So the journey when I have started, absolutely with the zero knowledge, and you have shows me the path. This way it can be happen. So with that vision, I have started keeping in that mind that uh, whatever happening nowadays is coming in the sports field, and the physiotherapy field is from the USA and UK mostly. So the quality product, what is happening outside, and it is getting very high price in India. So why not Indian people get a good quality product? That is the primary visions I am working on. So now the very much question is coming, why this IP? Why we should get this IP into it? Because if we don't have the IP in our side, these companies are very big companies, and these companies, competitor companies, are very large in their number, because they can just engulf you with the money and with the resource. So from the starting itself, if you don't take protections of yourself, it is going to be a very loss in future, what I say. So my product generally, I started with the rehabilitation band, TheraBand, which is called, we know everybody, we know it's a TheraBand, but this is called actually resistance band. The company itself is so large, like Xerox. Now everybody knows it's a TheraBand. So similarly, we have started a gold standard product in India. And followed by, I have designed a digital band, gives a data collections from the patients in the real time. So this is one of my product. Second product is a reflex action board along with a wristband in hand, so that we can get the auditory and ophthalmic and tactile reflex action and its time. So it's a simultaneously assessment device and therapeutic device. So, but as I told already, big players are there into the market. When we start pitching for everywhere, they are collecting these data and they are having their huge and large team. They can make it, which we make it in 1 year, 1.5 year, 2 years time, they can make it in 3 months, 4 months time. So if you don't apply for this IP or rights, copyrights, then it will be a very loss from your side. One more thing I would like to add, that sir has told the trademark things. Initially, my company was named as AV I had done a Indian trademarking. But after some time, I found there is a very big company called AV Care that is a bird feeder that is from Canada. So now I have to change my company name to AV Care to TAVI Care. So these things can happen because now it is a big dilemma. I am having a brand name, I am having a company name. So these mistakes can happen initially, those who are starting up. So we have to be very careful about it. And of course, Prateek knows better. But as sir told, I am also listed in Amazon. But Amazon definitely asked for trademarking certificate. At least they asked our company. You have to produce the trademarking certificate. If you have the trademarking certificate, it is much easier to list it yourself into the Amazon.
Yeah. So just as a, you are a practicing physiotherapist, right? You're working out of, you're treating patients at Dinanath Mangeshkar Hospital, for example. What motivates you to get into this kind of product development and these kind of activities? Like what was your motivation to get started in
Sir,
this?
as I have told this, one very much painful area is the cost. Means the gold standard, whatever you see, the Apple watch, you see, it's a very gold standard watch, having everything, it is very classy. But you see the cost, everybody cannot afford it. Similarly, when I was prescribing few bands to Indian peoples, they are not able to afford it. A band with the 2 cups, it is almost like 3,500 cost. Hmm? It's because it is coming from outside. But why not we are giving our people to something which will be useful for them equally, and we can give it a cheaper. These peoples are my motivation, sir.
So do you think
something from
has
our
the
own people.
patient's treatment improved following use of some of these bands?
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
of
so
course.
is that what your purpose was?
Yes.
Okay. Let me move to Divyakshi, right? Let me ask her about, can tell us a little bit about your company, the products and so on. You're yourself state level tennis player? Yeah, and she played for she's been an avid sports person herself, and perhaps that sort of shaped what you got into as well, right? So can you talk a little bit about your motivation, also what exactly you're working on, and how you got into it? Why did you choose that particular topic?
Good evening, everyone. So, yeah, so I've, like Sir already mentioned, I've been into sports since I was young, right? So, I think injury is a very common aspect of sports. And sometimes it's short term injury, but a lot of times it's long term injury. And management of long term injuries or rehabilitation, when things get chronic, as you age, that becomes a challenge. And that's a problem that we identified as part of the social innovation program, which I had started at Venture Center itself. It is a program by the Department of Biotechnology, Government of India. So I think largely we spent around 6-8 months in the ecosystem trying to identify problems, and that's where I identified the gap. Previously, I'd already worked or been part of product development in a wearable technology startup. So that kind of aligned for me, and that's how I started my company by the name Anatomic. So initially we were trying to build wearables that would help with any form of fall reductions. However, that evolved over time, and what we got into eventually is circulatory health. So circulatory health is a core vital, but it's so under addressed that today our wearables are only able to monitor that, and we're only able to give action based insights. So what our product does is, it's a technology based product. It mimics circulation and helps with regain of oxygenation, especially in the lower limbs or the joints that are impacted. So it helps with sports recovery. It helps in chronic cases like varicose veins, DVTs, lymphodemas, edemas. So early on, back in 21, when we were still doing our research around the technology, we started a brand by the name Q, which largely we are developing compression products, which are manufactured in India. So, like Sir already mentioned, most of the products were at that point of time and even today imported, right? And but compression products help largely with endurance training, performance, recovery, all of these aspects. So we understood the entire technology or production aspect of compression products, and we adapted that into Indian manufacturing systems, and then we put out a brand so that we are able to build a brand by the time our product is out in the market. So our tech product has been patented. We applied for the patent around 21 when we started the research, but it took about 2 to 3 years. In India it's been granted, and in the US it's been published so far. And now when we are close to commercialization, we do realize as a company, like how Sir already mentioned, that in terms of building distribution partnerships, now it is very vital that we have protection on our technology. And if we are, I mean, by ourselves, we'll be able to deploy in, at a very slower pace, and within restraints, a lot of restraints. But with protection to our technology, we will be able to look at multiple distribution partnerships. So that is how it has largely played a role. And I think we also have trademarks on both our company and brand names. Um, in case of our brand name, I think we were not able to secure the trademark early on, so we had to reapply for it. Largely because there was a phonetic similarity, so the spelling was different, the domain was completely different, they were not in the same segment as us, but just because there was a phonetic similarity, we were not able to secure it. So we've had those kind of challenges, but largely I think what Prateek also mentioned was that when there are fraudulent sales happening on your brand, you're able to protect your brand for that, and you're able to secure or save or protect your revenue, because you have to share your revenue in cases where it is kind of
Yeah. So in your case, there's something which, you know, your product is going to be probably one of the sleekest, uh, wearable compression device, which is actually one of its kind, right? And clearly, that is something which has taken a lot of effort to build over a period of time. So when you go and present it um, to different people as something which is innovative, right? And what is the kind of reception you're getting from, say, customers and investors? Do they see value in, you know, the innovation and the uniqueness that you're presenting, or they just see it as an alternative? Which
Right. So no, so we have been able to reduce the size largely. It's just a 1 mm thin product, which is battery operated, and the person can be mobile. So as soon as we take it to, say, a clinician, or they're immediately able to understand that it is firstly mimicking circulation. It's mimicking circulation in the lower limb, which is the calf is known as the second heart of the body, because most of your muscle and tissue is there, right? So they're able to recognize that. We've been taking it to sports persons. We've been taking it to people who have chronic conditions, and largely their complaint has been so far that they are not able to get access to rehabilitation, which is because of which they are losing mobility, especially in older ages. They're compromised in mobility, they're compromised in actively engaging in other fitness and sports activities if they're younger. So the reception has been really great, so they can use the product at the convenience of home while sitting here in a conference like this or an event like this during commute, since it's battery operated. So largely we've received positive response. So we've done a pilot study around our products.
Okay. Let me ask Harshesh next to talk a little bit about his product and company. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for the invite to this panel. So I'm Harshesh, co-founder at For Health. Before I begin, I think since the theme is sports, I would like to also share the story of how For Health started. So I used to work at Mercedes-Benz and I was an automation engineer. Uh, and I was a lot into running. After my personal best 10-kilometer run, I got a lot of pain in my bumps. Went to a physiotherapist. They said my hamstrings were very tight. So basically, I had to undergo 7 days of physiotherapy, where almost on a daily basis, they would make me do similar exercises. And on the next day, when I'll go back to the company, I'll search for things to automate. Where the thought came that why can't we build something that can do the exercises on me? So eventually, we created a prototype, showed it to the physiotherapist, and they said that this is useless for you because these kind of exercises you can do it on a daily basis with the help of your family as well. However, there are patients, especially with neurological conditions, who need it on a daily basis 2-3 times a day with as many repetitions as possible. So there we realize that does a market exist with respect to neurological patients. So from that perspective, we started For Health, where we are trying to solve basically two problems. Today, physiotherapy, especially in the neurological setting, is highly physically fatiguing. It's very demanding. So working with an obese patient, especially paralyzed, picking up their legs becomes very hard. And on the other side, it's also still very subjective. We don't get blood test like reports in physiotherapy. Your hemoglobin is improving week on week, RBC is improving, but physiotherapy, the physiotherapist has to physically test it and then motivate the family to be able to continue physiotherapy, which is harder. So our device, which you can put it on your lower limb or on your upper limb, basically can detect patient efforts and assist them to do their basically all the exercises or activities of daily living, all the way starting from paralysis to their complete function. So a simple use case would be, let's say if you want to retrain the patient to drink water. So the device, you can put this water bottle onto the device and the device will basically assist them in drinking water, eventually to the point that they can drink it themselves. So we have incorporated different activities of daily living, which it can start assisting to kind of build better. That's been our journey. We also have registered for a patent in India. Just a couple of days back, our examination report has come. So we are now in the process of kind of
Defending
working
it.
on yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how.
You have a trademark?
We have just started to work on building a trademark around For Health.
Okay. Yeah. Is branding important in your business? You need water. Is branding important in the kind of business you want to build?
So at the moment, currently, there are 5 to 6 odd players all around the world that are building such rehabilitation robots. We have understood that branding from the perspective of feeling factors, in the sense it's a premium brand or it's a brand which is safe, which becomes extremely important. So all the designs that we have, be it in terms of visual looks and feels, we do make a lot of we do a lot of deliberation on making sure that it comes out in the attributes that we want our customers to feel. Now, in fact, we have started to understand that once we get to the market, it's a very small market as well. So people do talk to each other as well, where the names similarly are spoken across different people. So now we have started to also realize that it's very important for us to now start trademarking it and eventually brand it in a more comprehensive manner.
Yours is a B2B company, right? Whereas both of them are also selling directly to consumers.
Yes.
For you, I think there's no doubt that branding matters, right? Both of you agree, right? In your case, B2B, does it matter? As much, because you will
not as much. It is more door-to-door sales as much as it would be from B2C, where it's more of them going to Amazon and seeing through things. However, it's very important from a perspective of when we are going to a new customer or a new physiotherapist, almost every physiotherapist knows each and every other physiotherapist. So if you're branding enough for other physiotherapists to remember that, yes, let's say in a conference I had seen them and they had done this or they had come over for trials, that word spreads very well. So we have understood that having them have an impression of your product through branding also is helping for them to have that recalled value around it.
Okay. I think I'll Hardik, welcome to this panel as well. So I met Hardik at another event where I was very happy to see a high quality board game, innovative board game out of India, right? And it's nice to see what they have done. You should, if you're interested, please do visit their site, Block and Roll. But tell us more about your company also and the product and how you got into it. Like, because it's a sort of unusual, right? Kind of an area to work in. How did you get into it?
Firstly, thanks for inviting me over here. So as you mentioned, high quality board games in India, they are very rare actually. We all have played board games or many different type of games, maybe in sports, maybe under entertainment, indoor games, outdoor games. But all of them, if we see them branded, they might be from Hasbro, Metal, or all those big companies which are not existing in India. They are just selling in India. But nowadays, Indian board game market, Indian entertainment industry, it is increasing rapidly. Board game convention happened in 2020. That was the India's first board game convention. But we as an audience, we have been playing board games since a very long time now. Maybe since our childhood, and our parents also used to play board games. But when it started getting branding on the board game, there was no Indian player in the market. There was all international players only. So now another question that everyone has is the board game industry really increasing or is it really growing? So when we usually talk it around, we usually say कि नहीं यार, we usually play mobile games more now. But if we see the numbers, the Indian board game industry particularly, it is increasing 9% annually, which is a very good growth for the board game industry. So how I got this industry? So during our last college days, we were supposed to have something for the exhibition, and I decided to create a game out of a series named Squid Game. So I started with that. I created a game out of it. But when I tried to turn it into a business, I realized at the first point I realized it can be played on pen and played using pen and paper like a tic tac toe. So that's where that's how I came to know okay, oh, we need to derive something which we can sell, but at the same time while we were deriving it, we also realized that there is a very good need to protect it, because games are something, if it is selling good, duplicacy is a very keen thing which can happen. Like mostly if we see China, it is very good in duplicacy and India may they sell a lot. So I think because of that, we got 4 trademarks, 1 patent. A patent is under process right now. We do have design registrations as well, because that is equally important for us. Because what happens is sometimes you have created a product, you have created a design, and someone might just work a little bit of it and use it again, and we don't want it. So that's why we have done that as well.
Yeah, why don't you tell a little bit about your game also? What does it do?
Yeah. So it's a strategic board game. It is more towards your modern games that we have right now. You will end up having n number of possibilities in that game. It is not second Ludo, which you play with 4 pawns and keep on playing. It's not on that part. It is good for social interaction. It is good for cognitive development, your intellectual thinking. And at the same time, it is not age limited. So it's more on the lines of chess, I would say, where anyone or everyone can play it. Even the kids and grandparents can play together. That's
Okay, great. No, I think it's interesting. I wish you had brought one just to show to people, but maybe another time.
actually we have one available in the library.
Oh yeah, the library has it.
Yeah.
So we should get that. So
Yeah, there are many actually. Yeah.
and it's a, by the way, very interesting market space as well. I don't know if you know, but today, New York Times, okay, actually its subscriptions, especially on the apps, are driven largely by things like Wordle. Okay, not as much by news but by Wordle, right? So it's actually a huge development where people I mean, there's of course a lot of disruption happening currently in all of these businesses, but I think board games or games which are played with computers and so on and so forth are going to become quite important, and especially something like this requires a little bit of thinking, a little bit of strategy, and so on and so forth. But if you look at his board, you will see that it has very simple elements.
Yeah, we
right?
work on three values actually: simplicity, strategy, and fun.
Yeah.
So it has to look simple.
And they have invested a lot of effort in design.
Yes.
It's You can see that it is well designed, looks colorful, attractive, and so on and so forth. I mean, like what you would expect from some of the global brands as well, right? So I think that's something which is quite interesting to see. So I'll go to Yash now. I'll request Yash to speak a little bit online. Yash, just let's see if your sound works. But
Yes, it should.
Yash is working in a very different domain, okay? Where he actually works with plastic electronics and printed electronics. Right? And this printed electronics domain has a lot of applications. So you can imagine a cloth, say, for example, which, say, heats your body, right? Or a cloth which actually is collecting data as we speak, right? Things like that. And that's what, Yash is an expert in, and he's looking at various different topics in that. So, Yash, over to you. Tell us a little bit about your company and your products, and what is the key invention out here which you're trying to take to market, and how is it relevant to also the larger sports and athleisure community?
Uh, Thank you so much for inviting me, and good evening, everyone. So I'm Yash, like founder of Suryodaya Plastic Electronics. So even we had a problem with trademarking a name like Suryodaya, like means sunrise, and it's one of the most common company name. So even we had to, we had to eventually trademark our acronym, which was SPEZL or Spätzle. It also has a German meaning, but we didn't know that back then. So choosing your company name, I think, is very important. In case you guys haven't chosen a name yet, please check if you can actually trademark your name or not. So we make electronics on different materials. So like Premnath sir said, we print electronics, which means that we deposit ink, liquid ink, on say cloth or plastics and to make electronics. So imagine a PCB which stretches. So regular PCBs are rigid, but we can make them stretch. And that's our USP. We've also recently filed a patent for high breathability printed electronics on fabric. So what this enables is not just heating or lighting, but also sensing. For example, we also have some customers in medtech B2B, and they are using our devices for, say, on-skin patches for, measuring temperature of babies. Like you can have a batteryless Band-Aid, for example, you stick it on your skin, just bring your phone and you can measure the temperature. We also have some clients in B2B who are using our printed electrodes to replace electrolyte-based electrodes. So these are dry electrodes. You can simply put them on your clothes. So they are very seamless, much more comfortable, not sticky at all. And you can even wash them up to 50 times in a washing machine. But our journey started actually with antennas. So, like we used to make, we started with a project with IDEX, Ministry of Defense, to make antennas. And that was taking too long. So we figured out we sort of mini pivoted, I would say, because it was in the same domain, but not the same application. And we started to make heated clothing. So the exact same technology which was in military helmets is now in clothing. And like you just have to connect a power bank and you can warm yourself up. And that's going to be a first B2C product. So initially we had targeted the US market, but as you know, we are facing a lot of challenges there in terms of the import duty and also the changing narratives on foreign products in USA. Also, our base raw material, like we had some disruptions. We use a lot of silver, so we had to change the technology a bit. So with the new strategy, we are also now targeting Indian market, and we have all the trademarks for the Indian market already in place. So we are good to go on that front. And trademarks also, like in different jurisdictions, also help because then you can always, change markets whenever needed.
So, would say people have a T-shirt which keeps them warm in Ladakh when they go for a marathon?
Yes, yes. We are going to launch that soon. So just connect your power bank and you're good to go. Like for all travelers, like you live in Mumbai or Pune and you don't have clothes to go to Srinagar, you can just buy a jacket and it's also going to be like a travel jacket. So perfect for travelers as well.
Okay, so I think another very different type of product. But by the way, there are right now products in the wearable space coming out, which say, for example, measure things from your sweat. Okay, sensors, and these are wearables which are telling about, you know, the level of hydration, for performance monitoring for athletes. Many of you might have seen in cricket, for example, when you watch cricket matches, you're seeing actually what's happening at the back end, right? How they're able to simulate where the ball would go, how it would probably hit the wicket or go to the left or the right, and so on and so forth. These are all actually technology products coming out from companies, right, which are actually making it available to sports people. Interestingly, I was so there are some locations in India where some of the sports training happens for some of the athletes, elite athletes, and there are some hospitals also which run these centers. And it's quite interesting to see the kind of products which are there, and there are large brands associated with that as well. So over to Piyush now. I'll request Piyush to talk a little bit about what he's trying to make. He's in an interesting domain where it's primarily focused on sports medicine, and he's trying to build products for doctors, which, you know, are aimed at sports medicine. So, yeah.
Thank you. So, good evening, everyone. And I will just pick up from the cricket, what sir mentioned. I think everybody in the room must have faced the tension or pressure sometime in their life when Tendulkar used to play. And if he's out, then the entire match is gone. And he was diagnosed with a tennis elbow, and it was almost a career ending injury for him. Well, Tendulkar was, of course, a very well-known name, but in sports medicine, it happens with a multiple player because of the injury. Almost their career is about to end, and the problem that I'm working is not only limited to that sports part, but it is also related with the many people who are common people here. The usual cause behind such a problems is that your small ligaments and tissues which keep your joint intact, and they don't allow the unnecessary movement in the joint, the rotation and all that. Because of excess force, these ligaments get detached from the bone. They make the joint unstable. For the sports injury, if it is not treated in a well within time frame, it is like you are damaging your joint, your career is almost over. And even in the normal cases, like people like us, if it is ignored for a very long period of time, even your day-to-day application, day-to-day activities can have issues with that. In such cases, to treat the problem, surgeons will do a small surgery, and they will attach back that torn ligament back to the, or the tissue back to the bone in its original position. And earlier it was done by using the metal implant. Now, human body is a very interesting thing. A body has a tendency to gain back its original position. And when that happens, actually your external implants are of no use anymore. It's just a foreign body sitting inside you. In case of sports, basically people want to go back to sports again, basically within a year span and all that. And what's the solution could be here? The solution, ideal solution, is basically a implant which gives you that necessary fixation, give the performance same to that of metals, but dissolves over the period of time, leaving no toxic residues behind. And this is exactly what we are building at Orthocraft Innovations. Of course, as many of us have stories here that none of this was there in the India, and most of the solutions came from the US and all that. We also have the similar story, but today some of these solutions are available. But I'm proud to share that Orthocraft is the only Indian company right now who covers the maximum value chain in whole this business. So let me give you a uh, 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 quick introduction to the products that we are building. In my current product portfolio, there are 3 products, out of which 2 products are directly related to the sports medicine. The one product that is related with the knee joint, and the second product is related with the shoulder joint. These are the small screws basically, and if there are ligaments in the knee, like a ACL, anterior cruciate ligament, and in the shoulder, you have something called as a rotator cuff muscle, which keeps your shoulder joint intact. And to fix these torn ligament or the muscles back to the bone, these screws are used, and I'm making them in an absorbable format. And now connecting them back to the intellectual property. In the medical devices, it is extremely important to have a intellectual property, not only as to have it for the sake of it, but it works as a strategy for you. I'm fortunate at Orthocraft, we have almost 5 trademarks, 1 patent, and a trade secret as well. I mean, that is one of the intellectual form of intellectual property. We have these things in places. The way intellectual property works in a implantable devices, particularly for absorbable devices, that you keep your doors open while you are innovating, because your time from ideation of the product to actually give the product in the hands of a surgeon is a very long, and you don't want a player to get in this line of your products very easily. You keep building the barricading, and that's how the intellectual property work for us. So I guess I have covered all the 3 points: the product, the sports, and the intellectual property.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just going to briefly request Shoma here to speak for a minute. But basically, what is going to happen is, see, she's been mentoring a lot of startups in accelerators and so on and so forth. And there are many places where, we see either value or no value for IP, right? So I want her to comment on that a little bit. So Shoma, can you tell us a little bit about your recent experiences with mentoring, and where all has IP come up, right? And is it required? Is it not required? If required, why is it required, and by whom? Who asked for it?
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. So, from our experience, and especially in the venture center context, the kind of startups that we support, that ranges from in the diversity from, say, healthcare, which is around medical devices, diagnostics, therapeutics, rehabilitation, energy systems, advanced materials. It encompasses the entire chain of science and technology innovations. We often feel, and we obviously guide the startups also, that the technology, the underlying technology drives the value of the company. So it's very important to protect that, right? Because unless you protect that, how would you really build the edge? Because that's where it is driving the value. And for our startups, what we have observed is that also converts into the earliest asset the company has. Because whoever they talk to, whether it's a mentor or it's a investor, the moment they say that, yes, I do have a patent, the level of confidence increases a notch. At least that's what we have seen. Though it doesn't really guarantee that definitely you're going to have an investment, though it does not guarantee the product works or there's going to be a market adaptability, but it definitely signals the seriousness in the company, the seriousness of the founder, seriousness of the novelty, the more they are trying to build, right? So we feel definitely, that adds to the overall credibility of the business as well as the founder. And we often see that also allows our founder to talk freely to people. They are kind of able to build partnerships better because of the kind of, platform they are able to leverage because of the patent they have. They are a little bit more empowered to do that. Secondly, I think it also offers them strategic opportunities to be able to license, co-develop, and all of that. Obviously, there's a future that brings in them. So in our opinion, I think we have seen that has an immense importance of having IP. But having said that, we don't consider that as a checkbox. We don't consider that as an action. We consider that as a strategy. So they need to understand when and what to file and how to file, and not really jump into it. So obviously that kind of discussion and mentoring also comes into picture early on, and is the right stage when they need to think about all that, when actually they need to go out and talk to people, and that's where the discussions comes in. But that is definitely, as in our experience, one of the key element that most of the stakeholders they are interacting with keep asking. And anybody today that they interact with, they try to at least understand, do you have at least an IP? That's where the conversation starts with. So that's been our experience.
Shoma mentioned, of course, the ability to speak freely, right? Imagine a contrasting situation where somebody comes and says, I have something which I can't tell you about, it does this, what I can't tell you that also. So what are you going to have a conversation on, and what is it that you can even evaluate for novelty or for value or anything like that, right? And that becomes a pretty challenging issue for many early stage founders. So I think that's one thing which we definitely manage, right? The other one I just wanted to point out is that today, if you go into the market and are raising money as a commercial money, very often investors want to see you build some kind of protections for, in the market, which save their money, right? I mean, you can get wiped out by somebody else in no time. At least there should be something else that comes out over there. And there are a few other things as well. See, something like a patent actually converts something in the mind to something which is tangible, right? And it is something which is tradable independent of you and your company. You understand what I'm saying? It's an asset which is actually tradable, which basically means that you've created a pocket of asset for an investor which is independent of you and your head, right? Which signals building IP and value into your company, right? And which is actually a source of extra value, right? So that's something which one has to keep in mind as well when one is talking about this. Recently, we are also seeing, by the way, when you go to government procurements, right? And if you have something unique, right? There's a mechanism to order things because, you have a patented product. Okay, you can actually get an edge in the procurement process, right? Somebody can list it as a proprietary item which is not available otherwise, and therefore available only through you, right? And that's another important, so it helps sales also, right? And one more point I wanted to point out is corporate partnerships. We find a lot of companies struggling to have conversations with big companies because they think that things will get stolen, right? Or they will get overrun. But there are very important aspects of agreements that you sign with corporates, including, say, for example, you list what is already existing IP with you, which is your patent or your trademark, which is the coming into the table before the discussion. And that basically means that, it puts it on record rather than you just talking in the air. So there are multiple ways IP plays a very important role for startups like many of these here. So I want to close now. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, of course, it is very, very important. If any unique product happen, even idea also can be patentized. But before that, with a good source, that proper patent search is also required, that analysis of the patent search. And who knows that somebody else is also doing almost the similar thing. And so that's why if you can do before your idea, of course, we rear up our idea like our child, and we are obsessed with our idea. When we have something unique, we are all obsessed. But somebody else, which is a independent to the you, and they are doing a research and they are doing analysis throughout the world, and they are giving a analytic result, that will be quite necessary, I think, for a startup and for an individual.
Okay. So last, we're going to close now, but I'll just run a round of quick answers from you. All of you are in many ways creators.
Sir.
And creators of IP, creators of new products, creators of new brands, whatever it is, right? And in the startup business, there'll be many new creators around. So what is your, top two advices to them shortly, in short, right? For new creators, for people who are building new ideas, right? Which you have learned the hard way, many of you.
Very much. So first thing is that if you have any idea, and try to make it market ready within 1 year. If you start pitching, this goes simultaneously hand in hand. So you fund, you try to develop the product. So if at all we have any idea, the maximum time frame is 1 year. After that, your idea is going into the market and it will be tailored and somebody else will do. Otherwise, in some other part of the world, similar product is already rearing up. So this is first. Second thing, marketing is a very, very important. So before you jump into entrepreneur, you have to be very sure that you are going to how you are figure out your marketing. Otherwise, you can develop the product and you can give it to some other company. You can sell your product to some other company as an asset. But if you want to go for the entrepreneur journey, your marketing is 70% to 80% thing.
Yeah. At end of the day, you have to sell products.
Exactly.
So you have to be a salesman, right? And just being very fascinated with your technology doesn't cut it.
So that's
Okay.
two
I
things.
think we got your message. So we'll move to Divyakshi.
Yeah, I think from my own experience, I would say that start generating revenue early. Even if it's not the tech product, just get some money rolling.
Close to you.
Yeah, just get some money rolling. It'll help you understand supply chain distribution, especially if you're a first-time entrepreneur like how
So
I am.
again, you think you should get to market fast and start earning.
Yes,
Yeah.
because it helps you. Yeah, it helps you build your pathway for your tech launch as well. And I think we had a disagreement about IP protection, especially in another geography when I had to go and register, in other geographies beyond the national filing phase. But I think it has worked out for the best eventually. So I think it is very, very important because now I see, how it helps with all the points that we just covered about distribution partnerships, co-development, and all of those partnerships. It's very, very critical if your IP is already granted, and it is granted for us in India. So it opens the pathway for many conversations.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And especially where you're investing quite a lot of effort and time, because it's something which, if it's something which people can quickly catch up to, it may, like in software, for example, the cycles are very short, right? There, the how important IP is very different, say, from how important it is for new drug. Right, new drug, you just cannot do anything without IP, right? There's no way you can run a business of that kind, right? So over to you, Harshish. Yeah.
I think I believe in what both of them said. So, from another way to look at it, try to talk to your customers as early as you can. When you have a problem in mind, go and speak to your customers that this is the problem you're facing, figure that out. You can, if possible, make simulations, prototypes, mock ups, try it. So, you don't have to pivot later, which then becomes a costly affair. Or, for that matter, the IP that you would have made on year one with your idea might have to change completely on year three if you wouldn't have spoken to your customers from day one. And I think what Shoma also said, helped us also. Once you have the IP, then execution is what matters. Ideas are plenty, but then it gives you the chance to speak to anyone and everyone in the world, which also allows you to kind of work further upon your idea. So second would be quick execution post IP, and probably speaking freely to everyone and anyone, which helps you generate further ideas around your primary idea.
Thank you. Yash, you want to go next?
Yes. So yeah, I mean, I'll say the same thing. You have to be very quick. I mean, something I learned the hard way. You have to be very quick, not only in developing, but also putting products in the market. And the second thing would be do not die. I mean, as a startup, we all have limited money. So, and in current times, you need to save as much as you can yeah, that's what I would like to say.
Yeah, so somebody said, once that the art of a startup is to stay alive as long as possible until mother luck hits you. you know, because there's a journey over there, right? And every entrepreneur is juggling many balls, right? And one of them is money, cash at hand, right? And you know that you may be able to raise money, and then it just falls short of it. The ball drops, and that is the saddest of it all. So I think it takes that persistence and staying power, right? Survival power. That's quite important in the startup world as well, right? It's over to you, Hardik.
Speaking about money, so many early stage startups have the problem of having a very little fund. So they usually compare between investing in growth and investing in IPs. But what I feel is ki invest in IP, because definitely if you invest in growth and you don't have an IP, the other day you'll die soon.
Yeah, so in your line of work, clearly IP is extremely important because
Definitely.
people can replicate very, very quickly otherwise, right?
Yes.
And that's something which is quite important as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So,
adding
yeah.
one more point to it,
Yeah.
many entrepreneurs don't know that government of India is providing many funds for the IP part of it under MSME schemes and many different schemes. So please research a lot about that in case you are an early stage startup and having problems related to it.
Sure. Thank you. Piyush, your 2 points.
Yeah. So the first point is like which business you are into and why you are into this business and how your exit look like. Spend a lot of time even before jumping in the business. And the second one, if you really have a good intellectual property, try to sell it off as quick as possible. Just make your money there, move on to next one.
Okay, good. I think we have covered a lot of ground today in this brief session. There were a couple of questions online. One is very specific to, I think, what Yash is doing, so I won't take that up. It's specific to what his products are. We can now do it offline. But there's also one question which is relating to IP, which has got to do with, say, those which are created in public institutions and so on and so forth. So, a lot of that is actually available for people to license and so on, but that doesn't mean that it has to be available free, right? So there was a question about common ownership. So let me just read that out to you about patents filed using public money, such as filed from public institutions like IITs, belong to common people with little ownership for the actual applicant of the patent. Applicant is IIT, representing a public institution. So it's okay. I mean, I don't see why it should not be treated as IP coming from any other public so private source either. The terms on which it can be licensed can be different, right? And that usually is very often priorities are given to many other considerations other than just only what are the returns that are commercial returns that are coming in as well. So that is something which you have to consider with a little bit of caution. Something that is created by a public institution doesn't mean it is free. Okay. You have to remember that, because there are people behind it who are working on it, and you have to find ways to take it to market nonetheless. And those are also things which people have to show as results at the end of the day. It is not, I mean, they are also not told necessarily that you have to give it away free, right? So please remember that as well. Okay. Anyway, let's close on that note. Thank you very much to all of you for taking the time out and coming here. And we wish you all the best on your businesses, right? All the best. And we hope, in a few years' time, we will see you somewhere on one of the billboards. Then we can recognize you. Okay, thank you very much.
We request everyone to please give their feedback. The feedback is there in the box. So please give us your feedback. It will help us.
So let me just thank the speakers. Can I do that? Yes. So, where should we do it? Maybe there? Anusha, are you ready? Some little goodies. There's a plant inside, and there is, one of our startups also makes jaggery. Very interesting product, actually. Yeah, and there's like this for it. Thank you. Divyaksha, there you go. Will you find it interesting? Am I getting okay, one more. Hardik. Did you get his block and roll? That's more important. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Rashish, thank you for taking the time out. Piyush, yes. Thank Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yash, we will be couriering yours. Yash, we'll have to courier yours separately. Thank you very much.
I have this venture center.
He can see you.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, he can hear you.
Yash will be sending you courier. Or
Okay.
you'll collect it when you come. Thank
Sure,
you.
sure. I was showing my mug, I mean, venture center.
Yeah, we saw that. But
Yeah.
not the mug. We are not giving out the mug this time.
Okay, okay.
Goodies. Okay,
Thank you. Bye-bye.